Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
As I said on Blue Sky, that's a frustrating way to lose. So the Calgary Flames fall to the Dallas Stars, even. Final score 5-2. My name's Conrad Krausert. Joining me today is Matt DeMille. Matt, well, at least you have WHL playoff hockey to look forward to, because this might have been the first of the death knells for the Flames' playoff hopes.
Yes. Well said. I don't know. I was saying before we got on air, that's just a game that I feel like I'm going to be processing for a while. Um, a lot went on tonight, and unfortunately, a lot of, the playoff picture um, was, uh, fleshed out a little bit more after tonight. And, normally after a 5-2 loss, usually there's a lot of fingers to point at, and a lot of that is for guys wearing I guess, the black, red, and yellow tonight, but really didn't feel like that. I know the both of us have had streams where there have been some loft or heavy goals from the opposition, and the Flames kind of weren't really in one, but for what seems like arguably the first time this season, it felt like a game that the Flames were in control of for most of the game, and just for it to go so lopsided the other way is just one that really, like I said, I need to digest after that.
Hey, I'll give you about 30 seconds to digest as I pay some of the bills here. Ship into Hyperdrive and get ready for some fun with your news source for all the biggest stories in hockey. Your unique style of broadcasting and commentary with a Quebecois flavor. Hyperdrive Hockey combines top-tier hockey analysis, big stories, pop culture, and a damn fun atmosphere that drives debate, makes you think, and even more. Join Max Veno, Daphne Melbuff, and Kevin Larmé for your fill on what's going on in the hockey world when it does return. Watch on YouTube on the Game Over Network channel. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or your podcatcher of choice. And you can head on over to our website, thegameovernetwork.com, for more. Yeah, it's a game that I think Flames fans are going to be needing to circle on the calendar to circle back to when we look at how this season has gone. Obviously, the Flames come in on a 4-game winning streak, 4 come from behind victories, 3 of them being in the third period alone. So there was that belief from this team, even heading into, let's call it midway through the third, but the unsustainable winning couldn't continue on a night like tonight against a team that is, outside the Blues, the hottest team in hockey. Um, so we'll go
Yeah,
through it all, but I just want to hear your thoughts a little bit more.
I agree. I think you nailed it on the head in the sense of, like, while it has been a fun run to see, the Flames come from behind 4 games in a row and pull off wins that you don't really expect them to pull off earlier in the season. And again, that is, like you said, all fun and games, but this kind of streak is supposed to end eventually. It's not beneficial, and it's not healthy to kind of keep up a streak like this. And I think tonight, heading into this game, it really felt like, the Flames had the chance here, and they really played like it as the more dominant team. Dallas came into this as a second of 2 games in a row, played a pretty tough game against Edmonton last night, with them kind of coming back and almost pulling a Flames on them last night. They're playing with their backup goaltender as well, with I believe it's Casey DeSmith, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
former much maligned Pittsburgh Penguins goaltender Casey DeSmith.
So it kind of felt like the cards were right for the Flames to take 2 points off from a tired Stars team, running the backup goalie. And I think they came out desperate, needing the 2 points, knowing how crucial it is for this playoff race and how hot both Vancouver and St. Louis have been. So compared to other games where we've had similar outcomes, like, I am not going home angry at a performance or an effort that the Flames put forth tonight. It's, I mean, as Matt see, it kind of feels like the hockey gods were against the Flames tonight, with a couple calls that I know, Conrad, you want to jump into, of course, and who doesn't want to. Um, a pretty big injury going down with Connor Zary, and just kind of how that game unfolded tonight. It really just kind of felt like to me, it felt like that was one of the Flames' better performances through 70 games this season. Like maybe a top 5 performance this season. And for it to turn so south is just such a, like, it's a demoralizing. And I'm not even on the team. That's kind of how it feels right now.
Yeah, so let's break this one down. Rupe Hintz opens the scoring, assist to Rantanen and Robertson. Again, this is one of the best, if not the best line in hockey in my mind when we're playing in an NHL that doesn't have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in it right now. And obviously you saw in Wolf's reaction, that was one he wanted back. Like, I'll say this. I don't blame this game on Wolfie, but it was not one of his strongest performances that we've seen this year.
I agree with that.
And then we have the first controversial goal called back of the night. Connor Zary streaks to the front of the net. I think he's kind of getting... Is it the tie? No, it's the steer wrestling over at the Stampede, where you just kind of grab the steer by the shoulders and wrestle him. Well, by the horns, but humans don't have horns, but you know that what I'm getting at. He was kind of getting twisted and turned, and allegedly kicks the puck into the net. Goal gets disallowed. Flames should have been level going into the locker room.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to talk about that
Yeah,
right
for
now?
sure.
Okay.
This is where we can do it.
I will say, like, of the two called back goals tonight, I feel like this is where you and I have more of a mixed opinion between the two of us. I was watching the game as I was eating dinner tonight, and I saw that goal go in, and I saw the replays, and I kind of just thought to myself, and I was watching with my mom, and I looked at her, and I go, I think that goal is coming back. And again, I'm not a rules guru, and I don't necessarily know off the top of my head what's the exact verbiage for a disallowed goal being, due to a kick. But from what I understood, you can redirect it and kind of angle it into the net with your foot, and that's kind of a good goal. But the minute there's any kind of movement behind it is where that line is crossed in terms of being a kicking motion. And
but
at least for me, I know Conrad, it's not a clear-cut
No.
answer. It isn't. The way I saw it as is, yes, was he kind of being steer wrestled, pushed towards that kind of, pushed into the kind of net? Yes. But I do think the way Zary kind of moved his leg and how there was force behind his foot, I felt like before the contact, I don't think the contact really affected the force behind his foot. And I think there was a distinctive enough motion to propel the puck into the net. That's kind of where I sat.
But the fact that we're able to have this debate means that there's a problem with the rules.
100%. Absolutely.
Where I can say, I think he's being pushed in towards the goal, and the fact that he's just trying to stop and not collide with a 6x4 metal frame, and the puck goes off his skate. That's a problem with the rules. It's a problem with how officiating is in the NHL, and I had this open earlier, but my browser decided to reset itself. Francois St. Laurent, this is not a new NHL official. He has over 1,000 games reffed in the NHL regular season and 87 playoff games. This is not a young ref. This is not one of the dub call-ups we've seen this season. This is a guy who's been doing this for years and has done 47 games this year, one of his lowest games reffed in a season. But it's so inconsistent what a kicking motion entails. Kelly Rudy, who is, I'd say, one of the best color guys in the business right now, when he's saying, I'm not going to comment on any of these things because I'm wrong so often, he was a goalie. He knew the rules of his time. He's now an analyst. He should know the rules of modern era. But when he's saying, I'm not confident enough to make a call on this, I think that's saying that the rule needs to be looked at, number one, and there needs to be some consistency. But as I will agree, this was the one I had less problems with of the two.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, I think, we've seen goals even this season that have looked very similar that have gone the other direction, and I think that's the problem, right? there needs to be distinct like verbiage and understanding of what constitutes a kick, and that really is not
It doesn't
really has
exist.
been. It has, yeah, 100%. And I correct me if I'm wrong. As I said, I'm not a huge officiating buff. I don't know the rules and stuff. When they review a goal like that, is it just the two refs that are chatting amongst themselves, or are
I
they going up to Toronto and Toronto is directing them with what decision to make?
see. I don't know. I think when it's a on ice review or whatever that review was, I think it is just the two orange armbands on the ice. But as I said when I was in chat when you and Anand were hosting a few weeks ago, maybe this means we need to have VARs in every building. Sequester them away in a room, give them all the video angles, let them be the ones making that decision. Maybe that's the way we need to go. I don't know. I'm just frustrated.
Yeah, I agree. Like even like for example, like let's say the officials are just talking amongst themselves and they're making the decision between the two of them. That's the thing. That's where I feel like things go wrong is like maybe the officials themselves don't know what the exact ruling is. Why do they not go up to Toronto or a VAR or whatever and be like, "Hey, we need somebody that knows the exact ruling, the exact definition of a kick. You need to look at this goal and you have to give us an answer instead of us kind of formulating a decision between their own knowledge, the two officials' knowledge, right?"
But the NHL doesn't want to go to that because they don't want to slow games down.
Which I mean, fair, but I mean, does that not take away the problem of this very streaky,
Yeah,
very
if we're not going to play by the rule book, why are we reviewing anything? Sort of
exactly? And then it's
argument.
like, okay, like I get that, but like again, if we're gonna sit here and every season, one time that instance is called a goal, the other time it's not called a goal, like why are we even bothering with like there needs to be some sort of like accountability if you want to call it that. Um,
Yeah, like
and
I
that's
would
an
love.
option for it.
Yeah, I would love to. I know the English Premier League has started publishing TikToks about the whole process that goes into their VARs, where you can hear everything that's said from the two VAR officials, the on-field officials, and it's great. It's not necessarily here's the whole rationale, but here's what went on. You decide if you would have made the same call, but it's some form of accountability to the fans, which obviously the NHL doesn't have. But I think this of the two we've cleared up. Let's go to the second period where the Calgary Flames have another one called back. This time, I don't see. There was the slightest of contact from the left skate blade of Joel Farabee to the pad. But we've seen times, we had the call earlier this season where Dustin Wolf's pad was kicked into the goal by a player that was in the crease, and that was still called a goal. The fact that Joel Farabee barely touches who was in net for, or no, it was you said his name.
Oh, the Dallas's goalie tonight,
Yes,
Casey DeSmith.
Casey DeSmith. I've had some form of Italian last name in my brain. But yeah, just barely nudges DeSmith's pad, doesn't take him out of position whatsoever from my vantage point. The fact that that's enough to get a goal called back on review is criminal.
Yeah, it's almost like, yeah, I agree. Like, this is, as you said, one that we're both kind of in agreement. Like, I don't think his presence there really impeded the Smith from making the stop. And like, again, I will go back to it. Like, how many times do we see an instance like that happen in in a game where it's like, oh yeah, that's a good goal. Like, it was not blatant enough in every single replay. It's like it feels like he could have made that stop without him there or not. That one, like, I agree. Like even right now, I'm just kind of like scratching my head at. I'm like, I don't understand why that one was called back. I don't understand the reasoning for that. And I've tried to keep things pretty like neutral and not necessarily jump down a ref's throat and that kind of thing. But that's one where it's like, okay, there's a problem with that decision.
I know we've got friends in Quebec and Ontario. I know Francois Saint Laurent from Greenfield and Garrett Rank from Elmira. If you have any connections of the friend with some horses or cows, I have a delivery I'd love you to make. Paul McCallum might come to mind for some friends of ours who bleed green from the province of Saskatchewan. Just saying. For legal purposes, this is a joke.
Yes, make sure we highlight that.
Yes. Anyways, but yeah, Phobos 1869 with a what is a catch situation in the NHL is a close parallel. Like, nobody knows. Like, anyways, let's go to the goals that were scored by the Flames. The first one, Nazem Kadri. Oh my goodness. Did not have much space to find above the shoulder of Casey DeSmith. Found the narrowest of cracks. And it gets a goal, and Connor Zary gets his 14th and probably last assist of the year.
Yeah, it felt like a puck don't lie kind of moment after back-to-back goals being disallowed, and that one too. Part of me did think, like, I believe it was either one of Postel or Klapka that came in and dummied a guy just before that puck was going in. And part of me saw that. I'm like, is there some sort of world where they call a penalty prior to that puck crossing the line?
It was a big hit by Pospisil.
I was a little nervous when I saw that because I'm like, that is, you can make the argument that's a borderline interference. I don't know where that stood, but I saw that. I'm like, oh God, what kind of world do we live in if that potentially comes back too? But it did feel like a puck don't lie moment. And I mean, I don't think tonight was like by far one of the Flames' best games I've seen effort-wise and stuff, but it wasn't a full 60 they played.
Nope.
And it feels like after that goal from Kadri's really when that momentum shifted in Calgary's way, albeit before a Wyatt Johnson and Michael Granlund goal back-to-back. But
yeah, the really... Wyatt Johnson individual effort did take a lot of wind out of the sails, I felt, for that second period.
Yeah, but like that 4-minute gap between the two goals, I was like, I could see the Flames scoring 4 right here, just the way they're playing and the energy they had. And they kind of had that FU mentality that it's like, you can call off two of our goals, we're going to come back and we'll score a third, we'll score a fourth. And of course, like, I mean, Wyatt Johnson is spectacular right now.
Oh, that goal, like, just taking the puck from Miramanov, holds the zone, and then gets around both Miramanov and Bean. I understand why Miramanov's in the lineup, because he contributes offensively, but it might be time to bring back Braden Pahal as that 6th defender.
I feel like I've been missing Pahal on the back end. I mean, I get Miramanov with the argument of he is more offensively minded than the others, but like, I don't know. I'm not necessarily sold on him. I can't say I've been sold on him this season. I think that's, like you said, a clear indication that it's like, hey, we might need to change things up on the back end here as well.
Yeah, and I think that's something we'll talk about a little bit later, is changes to this Flames roster. Yep. But Mikhail Granlund then gets another one. Mason Marchment, his 20th assist of the year, and gets the assist while wearing the biggest bubble over his chin I think I've ever seen. They talked about this on the broadcast, how the Stars seem to like blocking pucks with their face. You need to really stop that. That's not great hockey. Duchesne also gets an assist, and Matt Duchesne has 45 apples this year. Like, that's pretty absurd.
I think it's...
And Rantanen has 48.
And nobody's talking about it either.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that just shows... I mean, that team is, like, ridiculously just loaded and so flush with great players and stuff. But, like, Matt Duchesne at this stage in his career and stuff, to be 45 assists and clearly over 50 points is no laughing matter. And I think it really just shows like the testament to like just how dynamic this team is across all 4 lines, right?
Yep. But then we'll head into the third period where the Flames make their mark. Once again, it's Nazem Kadri fires a laser 16 seconds into the third. And Kadri, his 30-goal season, always good to see, but Huberdeau with his 31st and Morgan Frost with 20 assists on the year, which not all of them have come with the Flames, but a good mark for him to hit as well. And like, we kind of joked in our group chat just, hey, are they going to challenge this one for offside? And they probably could have. It did look like, I was watching the replay, it did look like Morgan Frost might have been offside, but I think maybe Dallas had figured they tested their luck enough tonight. But
I feel like there would have been riots in the street if that was challenged and called back. I would not have wanted to be at the Saddle Dome if that was the case. Because yeah, I feel like there would have been some sort of crowd riot happening. But yeah, I mean, you bring up Morgan Frost, and I just like wanted to briefly touch on him. I think he was really dynamic in tonight's game. I
Just
don't
can't
know.
shoot the puck though. Like
I just like I was about to say, like, I feel like I don't know if there's a person on the Flames team that is as snake bitten as him, considering how all these fantastic looks that he's getting, and he's putting himself in really good, opportunities, and it just like
I have one other name that tonight and the previous game might have him rivaled, and that's number 27, Matt Coronado.
oh,
How
100%.
many did he heal today? Like,
Well,
needs to
the
get a new
goal-
twig. Need new driver. That's always my thing when I'm healing shots in golf. I'm just gonna go to a sports swap and go buy a new driver.
I know, like, I want to talk about it later on because I was like just crashing out about it prior to the game. But that fifth goal with Dallas getting the empty netter, it really stemmed from a really good opportunity Coronado had. He was right in the center of the slot, nobody near him. And I mean, I didn't see the replay. The commentary makes it seem like, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on Dallas's defenseman's name. Harley.
Harley,
It sounded like Thomas Harley?
I think that's right.
Thomas Harley.
We
They
are
made it seem like
we
he
aren't
got
made
a
to watch Dallas. We can get those
Fair
names
enough.
wrong.
Fair enough. It's been a long week, but either way, the commentary made it sound like Harley got a stick on it, but at least for me, it looked like he just whiffed on it. So yes, I think those two guys, the pair of them could have had a pair tonight. Whether they would have ended up have been disallowed or not, I kind of feel for them because they like are getting the looks, they are generating the opportunities. They just like aren't able to finish any of their chances. And the Flames, for what seems like first time in a while, they were flush with chances comparative to the opposition they usually play against.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the puck went under the stick of Matt Coronado, goes the other way. Mikko Rantanen slots it past Dustin Wolf. And then Matt Duchene, empty netter from Marchment. That's the ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Stars only muster 19 shots on net, and the Flames one short of their season high with only 48 shots on net. Flames obviously dominant in that category. Another category that we've kind of been watching all year hasn't really improved. 42% on the dot for the Flames, which means 57.6 for the Stars. Flames go 1 for 4 on the power play and prohibit any offense from the Stars power play, which if we were to kind of put a bright spot on something, one of the better power plays in the league didn't get a power play goal. I think one of them was just after one had finished, but 18 penalty minutes for the Stars to the 14 for the Flames. Flames lead in hits. Trail and block shots, even though I felt we were blocking like everything that was fired towards Dustin Wolf in the first period. 13 to 11 Stars to Flames in the giveaway department, and 3 to 2 in terms of takeaways. Dallas wins the season series 3 to 0 over the Flames. I thought I'd have more of a crash out about Francois St. Laurent and Garrett Rank here, but I guess maybe your point on the first goal has calmed me down a little bit. I'm not going to be driving all the way to Quebec with manure in the back of the Subaru Crosstrek.
Yeah, I mean, it was a clear factor of how tonight's game went, and I'm not trying to cut them some slack and stuff, but I would say it's a questionable call and a call that shouldn't have been brought back. Either way, I think it's a 5-2 final score is not the way this game looked all game.
No. And the other thing that I will say about the two referees tonight, they were calling a lot of things late. Like after the play had resolved, there would be a call. But there would be an extra shove in the back. We saw a couple guys meet posts after plays. I just wasn't overly enthused with how this game was officiated. But I'm not going to crash out about it like I thought I was. So let's head on to period number 2, if I can find where my graphic is. There we go. Looking for ways to help an upstart media company employing over 30 young journalists, analysts, and broadcasters across Canada? If you have a few spare bucks jingling in your jeans, you can head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/The Game Over Network. There you'll find multiple tiers, including different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There's extra access, exclusive looks behind the scenes, Discord benefits, merch discounts, and opportunities to give feedback. And hey, maybe even join us for a few special shows live where you can interact with hosts from across markets so we launch more ways to improve your experience. If you're not able to spare any dollar bills in the world of American tariffs that we live in, we totally understand and have a free tier available so you don't miss out. If you really want to help us, make sure to click like and subscribe on the YouTube. Rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcasting app and share our work on your social media of choice. Once again, the Patreon is patreon.com/thegameovernetwork for these tantalizing goodies. So, period number 2, the captain comes back for Calgary. But the question that was in my mind is, you're coming in on a 4-game win streak. If Michael Backlund is 90%, because I don't think he's back at 100%, regardless of what happens and what he's said, should you have waited maybe and said, hey, we've got a good thing going here. Let's not make any lineup changes. Let's continue to roll with what's working. Let Michael get closer to 100%.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question to be had. And I don't know if I necessarily have an answer for you. At this point in the season, like, I do see there's an argument where it's, hey, like, let's keep sticking to what's working. But, like, playing devil's advocate here is trailing for most of the game and then coming back in somehow some third period heroics to win the game. Is that necessarily something you want to build on and keep doing? Like, I get there's the argument of, like, hey, they're rolling a 4-game win streak. But, like, of those games, have they played good for 20 minutes, 30 minutes? But,
maybe
like,
combined.
yeah, exactly, right? So, like, it feels like a full 60 hasn't been played in the last 40, and they've just kind of really stuck to their grit and their resilience. And you know, as you said at the start of the stream, like, that's not a recipe for success. And I think with Backlund, whether 90%, whether 100%, whether no matter what, if he's good enough to play, I do think that there is an upgrade with him in the lineup. I will say I was a little busy. I didn't really check the lines. I was curious to know who was the odd
Sharky.
man out. Oh, yes, you're right. Okay. You know what? Like, I mean,
Sharky's
it's
not been
not like
going. Sharky's not been
that's what I
going.
mean. Like, it's not like they took a member of the team out that's, like, been really, important for this team and has been producing and has been kind of playing in the role that they're supposed to be playing in. So, like, I get there's the argument where it's you don't want to ruin a good thing, but, like, again, this is crazy to say with them entering tonight on a 4-game win streak, but was there really that good of a thing for them to, like, risk changing?
I don't think either of us have all the answers. Neither of us are Ryan Huskin, nor are we anywhere near as smart of a hockey mind. He's probably forgotten more about hockey than either of us ever knows. But, considering the effort the Flames put in, probably safe to say better with Backlund in the lineup. And I hate going to this as a source. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. But you want to know what the deserve to win a meter said about the Flames' chances tonight, Matt?
I used to live off this thing until I realized how foolish I was for believing in it. I mean, I want to say it's probably high.
Okay.
I think, well, like, if you want me to put a guess there, I think the Flames were the team that deserved to win the most. I'm gonna say, like, just a nice, cool 60%.
You'd be low there, Matt.
Really?
By their analytics, the Flames deserve to win this game 87% of the time.
Wow.
Well,
That's
80,
high.
86.9, but
So when you said that's high, like, my next guess was like 70. Like, I will say, I don't know if we've chatted about this, the two of us on screen before. And I will say, like, maybe this is because I don't have as great of a hockey IQ as other people that partake in the stat keeping, department are. But
neither of us are Andrew. Like, Andrew is the king of the micro stats,
Yes.
but go ahead.
I am not the biggest advanced stats truther, and it might just come down to I don't understand them to the point that they're beneficial for me. So again, I used to look at the deserve to win a meter all the time and just like sit and stew when I see the Flames, got absolutely tanked in some sort of rating. So I am not the person to speak on behalf of advanced stats, and what I bring to a conversation is nothing that has to do with advanced stats. However, I believe them to be relatively hocus, but that is another conversation for another day.
Because we
I
have
will.
to remember, like, models like the deserve to win a meter are just that. They are models of an ideal world. Hockey and the real world are not ideal in the slightest. So, and if they were, we wouldn't find hockey nearly as fun as we do. You know what? I just found out something. Maybe the Flames were just the anger of the hockey gods. Because when the Flames have that, like, amateur skater out with them, like the 13-year-old Pee Wee.
Oh my
So
goodness, I heard about
he
this.
was
My
out.
dad was at the game tonight.
So they send out the Flames flag skater. I apologize. I keep opening the link and playing audio all over the stream. But he took out a camera guy in the warm up laps. Oh, maybe we are just cursed. Like maybe that's where we're at.
It really feels like that game, like that type of game tonight. I really like, maybe that was just kind of like the warning of like there is more craziness to come, and this is just the start. I want to see footage of it. I hope the camera guy's
It's
okay as well as the
Yeah,
skater.
of course. It is. I'll tell you, it's on the sea of Reddit. It is the
Okay,
second post up there. But
lovely.
yeah,
I will peruse after stream.
taking
But yeah,
out the camera guy and oh yeah, going so hard, just absolutely pumped.
oh goodness,
Oh,
goodness.
and tried to make the turn and nope, takes out the camera guy right in front of the bench. It was an avatar of things to come.
Yeah,
Um,
that's, oh goodness.
at least didn't
So
take out any of the Flames. Like, no offense to the camera guy. Like, we've both worked with amazing camera people,
yes.
but and a lot of those guys are tough as nails and go to the gym way more often than I do, so they can probably handle it a little better. But I think they are probably happier that it was them than any of the players as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, of course you don't want to see anybody go down, but at the same time, these guys out there are wearing helmets, they're wearing shoulder pads, they're wearing any kind of protective equipment you can. I mean, I don't want anybody to see take a spill, but those guys are also on skates and they're pretty good balance wise.
Yeah.
I feel like a camera person that is unsuspecting like that is just like a lot of damage ready to happen. Even like an official. Like I used to be a minor hockey league ref for a couple years, and man, when one of those little guys would come flying around the ice and not see and hit you in the back of the legs, no matter how you know, no matter how you tried to protect yourself, it was gonna hurt like a son of a gun no matter what. So maybe it would have been a little bit easier if he kind of dove into, a
And
Adam Klapka shin pad or something.
well, Adam Klapka is 6'8" and you can't teach that. But
No.
uh most of the Flames players aren't that large. But anyways, we will head on to the third period now that our little interesting segment or detour there is over. But if you're enjoying the show so far, you probably want some more of this, right? Well, make sure you hit like on this video, hit subscribe on the channel, and hit that little notification bell so you're alerted when we go live. If you're listening to us on a podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and write a positive review to help us out with that nasty algorithm that everyone hates so much these days. If you really like our product, please follow us on your favorite social media platforms. You can find us, The Game Over Network, on Blue Sky, at thegameovernetwork.com, on TikTok, and Twitter at Game Over NHL, on Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn at Game Over Network. I'm no longer on X. You can find me over on Blue Sky at conradkrausert.bluesky.social. Where can the folks find you, Matt? Not that you'll be on social media much over the next month and a half.
Oh, I was about to say, I mean, if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Instagram. Uh, Finding me is one thing, contacting me is the other, and that is solely on me and not having much of a social activity. But either way, if you want to find every 3-month tweet for me, you can find me on those channels.
As I said, Matt's got some. He's got the WHL sweater on. He's getting ready to be chained to a desk for the next month and a half with the Dub playoffs heading
Exciting,
on soon.
exciting times, exciting times.
Yeah, you can also find us at thegameovernetwork.com where you can sign up for our upcoming newsletter. And remember, check out that Patreon. Free tier, wonderful. But let's talk about the one man on this Flame roster who's been hotter than hot, scored his 31st goal of the season today. Nazem Kadri, and boy, oh boy, what a leader he's turned out to be. And, like, he seems to be kicking and dragging this team into a playoff race that they don't deserve to be in sometimes. Like, let's be real, he's earned 2 of the last 8 points himself in overtime.
Yeah, I think he's been one of, I mean, it's easy to say, but he's been one of the best Flames the entire season long. It seems like with this win streak, he has been the centerpiece to it. He has been the catalyst. He's the reason why the Flames are in the position they are, so, well, I wouldn't say close at this point, but still in the hunt for the playoffs. I mean, you can say Dustin Wolf is also a very big reason of that too, and I'm not taking that away from him. But while Dustin is doing a fantastic job keeping up pucks out of the Flames' net, Kadri is doing a even similar job keep putting pucks in the opposition. And since this, I wouldn't call it win streak anymore, but the last 5 games, he has just been on another level, and he is single-handedly, I feel like, putting the Flames in a position to succeed. And tonight was no different. He has this spark to him and has this will, and I feel like the energy he has and the passion he has and just the drive and dedication is propelling the Flames. Like, I feel like they were kind of feeding off of his energy tonight.
Yeah, just not quite enough, obviously, as Flames do fall. If you're late joining us, your final score 5-2. They were saying on the Flames pregame that this might be the best stretch of Nazem Kadri's career. I didn't watch much of him when he was with Toronto, and obviously it's hard to argue with a season where you won a ring being your best season. But I think this is really the next development for Nazem Kadri. Because when he was with Toronto, there was always in round 1, when is Nazem Kadri going to get suspended? Then he did it in Colorado too. But I think he's finally starting to mature as a player. And while fire is a good thing in any sport, it's also knowing how to direct that passion. And I think we're finally starting to see Naz understand that. Like, you would have loved to say for Nazem Kadri and his agent, oh, he learned from the first suspension. Sometimes it takes a little bit more than that. And I think we're starting to see that with the Flames. And even in a role where he's been taken away, or some people would view it as subtracting himself from being with Jonathan Huberdeau and being with reduced line mates, I think he's been taking all of that in stride and actually performing really well with the Nazem and the kids line, which may turn into Nazem with one kid and one shark, but who knows?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. So I was at the game on Tuesday night, and of course he took that questionable fighting penalty against, I forget exactly who it was, on Seattle. And the minute he came out from that, he was obviously fired up about, that being a call, him having to sit for the rest of the third. And he could have taken that anger and took a dumb penalty or done something, probably not the greatest idea in the world and stuff that we maybe have seen in the past. And like you said, he really harnessed and channeled that kind of anger and that passion, and he just put it to his offensive prowess. And I
And put
think,
it
like you
into
said,
pushing himself into a breakaway when he's
exactly.
gassed.
And I think what we're seeing from him in this last stretch of 5 games is I don't know exactly what it is, whether it's, frustration that the Flames aren't in a playoff spot and they're finding themselves kind of dropping down the standings a little bit because of other teams also, being equally hot. But it feels like he has kind of said, listen, if the Flames are going to be in a position to potentially make the playoffs, it needs to come from me, not relying on other people. And I think he's stepped up in that leader type role because of that. And as I said tonight, he's not only successful individually, but he's also, you know, motivating the guys around him to do crazy stuff like tonight. Like I will say, like, I think tonight was a team effort, and that's such a crazy thing to say off of a loss. But what they did offensively and how they really
100
looked
plus
like the
shot
better,
attempts, like
exactly, they looked like the better team against Dallas, who is a Western Conference juggernaut. I think the center of that is his energy and his dedication to this team, and not only speaks about his character, but it also shows the dynamic that this Flames team has. No matter, how unskilled, for lack of a better word, they are compared to other teams. That drive and dedication is something that I'm not seeing from very few from other players in this league. So hats off to him.
yeah. And before we go to overtime, there is one other event we haven't really touched on. It sucks. Connor Zary. Ugh, it was ugly, and thank you to the Sportsnet producers for not replaying it over and over. We've seen that throughout hockey in recent history, where producers like, let's just play the hit over and over. They played it once or twice, and continued on with the game. So shout out to whoever was producing tonight at Sports Night. Thank you very much for not just forcing that down our throats. I see a comment in here. Johnny Gaudreau Forever 13. We know Johnny Gaudreau Forever. Rantanen is dirty. I don't think there's any intent whatsoever there. He blows an edge in a rut. He's falling, and it's just unfortunate. Like, do you agree with my analysis there?
Absolutely. I saw that, and like, again, like, I mean, am I the greatest, like the biggest ranting and truther and stuff? No. Do I like the guy? No. Is it easy to find an excuse to dislike him over that play? Yes. But at the end of the day, I 100% agree. Like, watching the very few replays that they provided, as agreed with Conrad, hats off to the crew for not jamming that down our throats. But he's pivoting, hard cut up the boards, loses an edge, and unfortunately he goes propelling into the back of Zari's legs. Just considering how fast this game is, it's hard to avoid something like that. And it really is really bad, whether you call it timing or wrong place, wrong time, for just his leg to unfortunately get pinned underneath that. But I don't think, even if there is intention there, I don't think you can execute it with an intention to doing that, And I think, like, what this also kind of reminds me of, back during the COVID bubble days, is what that Matthew Tkachuk instance with Mark Scheifele, and people were kind of attacking Tkachuk with the way his skate blade hit the back of Scheifele's leg. And again, you need to. That's the only. I'm sure there's way more other examples, but for me, that's kind of where I pull from. Where it's like, this game is happening at such a fast pace.
Or how Mark Giordano specifically pushes Connor McDavid into posts.
Yes,
like that was another instance. Like,
this speed of this game is so fast that, like, it really was a wrong place, wrong time. And again, as much as you want to slander a guy like Rantanen, you can't blame him. And I think he himself knew the severity of that, because he kind of stayed behind and was, like, not necessarily looking after him, but he was kind of there, like, oh my gosh, like, are you okay? Because that's not something that he planned to happen. And again, I think it's just, it's hockey. Sometimes stuff happens that you don't want to, and there's nobody's fault to blame. And I feel like that was one. And
as much as we'll criticize the ref, I don't think the penalty should have been called there. Like
it's
they
hockey,
whistled it down as soon as the player was noticed, as soon as there was a transition and a moment for it to be called. Like,
yeah, like, unfortunately, you just have to chalk it up to, like, that's life. That's the danger of playing a game like this. You're playing on, like, with blades on the bottom of your feet. You don't have as stable as you want to say these guys are, because they are. They have incredible balance and stuff. Just stuff happens, and that was one of them. And obviously with Zari and him having missed time earlier in the season because of a same leg injury. I know, Conrad, you're saying it was a lot of the ankle too.
Yeah, it
And
looked like ankle rotation to me,
the
but
way
I
the
hate diagnosing penalties or injuries
exactly,
from.
it's tough. I think for me, it's just you see him holding just above his knee, right? Like either way, like that's just, I think the bigger thing for the Flames is like, there's a lingering issue on that leg, whether it's ankle, whether it's knee, and that's something you don't want to see, especially like, what Zari means to this team. Like he's put in quite a season with including missing time and stuff, and I mean, anybody out there, you don't want to see somebody go down with an injury like that regardless. And it's just, again, like one of the other reasons it feels like the hockey gods were against the Flames tonight, just to kind of add more problems to what was already a problematic night is just not a great way to kind of end.
Yeah, but that will take us into our overtime here. So, folks, if you've got questions, comments, concerns, if you want to talk Flames, if you want to talk Connor Zary, wish him the best, whatever you want to do, you can address that here in our overtime portion. But before we go that, I'm just going to hide Matt for a minute. Sorry, Matt. But
No problem.
what better way to support something you love than by rocking his clothing? Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. If you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, or just want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our live and die by the goalie design, or hey, we're heading into fourth winter here, I guess, this weekend. If you need another coffee mug, we've got you covered. All of these are designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code down the bottom corner of the screen now to take a look through our apparel site and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. I have to turn the intro off. There we go. We'll always love letting people have that little glimpse behind the scenes. But you know what? Before we go to questions from chat, I'm going to do a little bit of show and tell because I got a couple cool things over the last few days. Are you okay with me doing this, Matt? Just
100%, because I know what it is, and it is some awesome stuff. So I'm all for it.
So, you know what? I'll save that one because let's talk about a champion in this city. And of course, I've talked about them a few times this year. I'm going to talk about Cavalry FC, one of the other sports that calls this city home. They released their new alternate jerseys. And Matt, I know we talked about this. You don't understand why green is a cavalry color, but hey, it's a military term. Like, it kind of makes some sense to have the military green as well. The ownership group, Linda Southern, I believe she's a honorary general with the Canadian military. So got that link in with the cavalry green. So let's show this off. They just released this today. The cavalry green and gold stripes, WestJet logo in the front and center. And then on the back, let's see if I can get that on camera, the 50th anniversary of Spruce Meadows, one of the jewels of Calgary and area. And they got the cool little championship crest symbolizing their win from last year. I think that's cool. And you know what? They lost a sponsor, and I don't want to really rub that one in, but you want to know how they're covering that sponsor that was already printed on the jerseys? They're proudly Canadian. They threw the patch over that sponsor. So, you know what? Go Cavalry FC. Love to see that. Hey, we're only 2 weeks away from soccer being back across the Great White North. But I know this is probably the one you were referring to. Oh.
Yep, that's the one.
Isn't she lovely? Oh, Calgary Flames.
I love the design. Design's very well done.
It was so well done. I was so happy. I love that I got to go to this game. This is Dan Vladar's jersey. You'll probably see it in the background once I can get a command strip to hold on to my wall. But yeah, I was so happy to get this for less than the value of a Flames jersey. So you know how they list like the value on those silent auction sites? Yep. Under $700 was the value.
Not bad
for the jersey, and it's got the thing I didn't realize when they showed these was this flames colored
Oh,
butterfly
wow.
patch on the shoulder.
Huh.
I think that's maybe one of the nicest designs I've seen. But yeah, Dan Vladar Pride jersey. So just a little bit of show and tell. I don't know if anyone in chat was bidding against me on that one, but
Oh, that's fantastic, though. I
yeah,
really like. I don't mean to get too far off topic because I do see Anand in the chat with a couple of questions, but I really do appreciate kind of the artwork that the Flames do with these special nights, and the artists that they pick are incredibly talented, and they've come up with some fantastic designs for some really great causes as well too. So
yeah.
kudos to them.
I love this one. I also love the Black History Month jersey
Yes.
that they did. And the fact that the funds from it are going to local charities that support either a charity that's close to the artist or close to the communities they're supporting. I do have to say, I actually think the Flames might be second best in the alternate jersey game. I hate giving Kaya May and the Vancouver Canucks credit, but their Southeast Heritage jerseys that they do every year for the Canucks are so, so good.
I will say I like Vancouver's. I think Seattle does some really fun stuff too with some of their theme night jerseys as well. Those are the three big ones that I can think of. I think Seattle has some. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I picture a few of them. Um,
But Gary Bettman, I'm talking straight to you right now. I even had to pull the mic into the frame. Gary, can you please retire so we can wear these on ice again? Thank you.
I will say, like, I mean, I am biased coming from a Western Hockey League background, but I appreciate when there are theme nights in our league. It's an all night thing. I know Prince George has had some Indigenous nights ceremonies, and they've got to wear their jerseys for an entire weekend. Those are the first ones to come to mind. But
Oh,
yes, it's such
the
a
one that I wish I could have is the Calgary Canucks did a jersey with the Siksika Nation, and it's got the bowl that they wear, as it's got it's got the medicine wheel colors to it. It's brilliant. I wish I could have gotten one of those, but never ended up picking one of those up while I was with that team. But we will go to Anand Unnithan's question in the chat. We still have games in hand, but maybe it's becoming a bit of an uphill challenge to climb back for the wild card too. So, Conrad and Matt, who do you want to potentially see called up for the Flames if they are out?
Ooh,
Ugh.
good question. I have one.
Okay, go ahead with yours.
I am going to steal a concept that was brought from the barn burner guys, and it is a really interesting concept, and considering that they did lose tonight in the OHL playoffs in their first game, what are your thoughts on if the Saginaw Spirit get eliminated from playoff contention while the Flames are still playing in the regular season? Again, a lot of ifs, buts, maybes. But what are your thoughts on potentially giving Zane Parekh a look if the Flames are out of the playoff race by the time Saginaw might be?
I wish I knew the CBA better than I do. Because I want to know, would that count to his 10-game limit for next year? No, I don't think it would. I think... I don't want to eat into his contract years. That's
Yes.
me thinking as, let's build this Flames squad for the future, not for a push at the wrong time. So that's my thought. I need to know the CBA better. But I do like the idea of Zane Parekh being a Calgary Flame if Saginaw do get eliminated. I like the idea because my name was also a name on the back end, and that name being Hunter Brustevich.
Yes. Agreed.
Because if the Flames are out in Anand's prediction, I'd love to see Zane Parekh and Hunter Brustevich say, "Here, have second line minutes. Hey, McKenzie and Uyghur and Rasmus Anderson, you're going to be a true top pair, and we're going to shuffle around our seventh defenseman, all four of them that I've talked about this year, and we're going to let the kids just go see what they can do for 3 games or whatever." I love that idea. I also like the idea of giving Sam Honzek the carrot. Like, you've gone through so much from the injury you suffered in the dub to having essentially being told, we don't want you as an overager. Go play in the AHL this year. Go reward the kid.
I agree. I think he was the other one that I also was thinking of. I think at this point, like if you are going to want to see people come up, I'm not. I don't love the idea of bringing up guys that you know for a fact, like it's the. Oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking on names, but like even like guys like Tyson Barrie and stuff, like guys that are going to be in the system next year. That it's like okay, let's like.
I thought
wanna see,
his contract was expiring.
he might be. He might be. That's a good call. But either way, like I'm trying to think off the
But
top of my
like,
head.
let's look at this. I've got the Flames roster up here. We'll do it quickly. Rory
Sure.
Cairns, maybe, because he's still in that young enough. We don't really truly know what he is. Brett Davis, he's a ECHL or AHLer for life.
Yep.
William Stromgren, maybe. We still don't know what we have in him. I think he makes the Flames roster next year. That's my hot take. Ty Tullio, no, he's a ECHLer, not ready. Maybe yet, maybe ever. Lucas Siona, he's kind of the same with Cairns and Stromgren. But we have too many left wingers on the squad for them all to come up. Parker Bell, hey, maybe that's a guy you give a pat on the back to, saying you've been a good soldier all year. Get your 1-2 games. We've already seen Clark Bishop. We kind of know what Clark Bishop is. He's kind of that NHL, AHL tweener. Don't think so. Alex Gallant, no, not ready. David Slye, no. Martin Ferk, no, you're a veteran. Enjoy your paycheck in Wrangler land. Kyler Kupka, he doesn't even have a Wranglers picture. I think he was an ECHL call up. Thanks for your services. Carter Milamuk, no, not ready yet. Sam Honzek, I think he has a shot. The other name I think could as a forward is Sam Morton.
Okay.
Tullio, I believe, is an AHL purposes trade. Oh, so he might not even have I think he's on an AHL only deal.
Yeah, I think Anand's right on that.
I think so. Joni
one more-
Jurmo, maybe. Greshnikov, I would love to see him get a shot. I still think Flames management thinks he's a little too raw to maybe get that call up. Jeremy Poirier,
That's
of course, we don't have Julian McKenzie to battle for him at every press conference anymore.
See, I was going to say, though, that is the other name that I would like to potentially see it get a couple games. You know, I think there is, when we drafted him, I know there were concerns, but I do think there is upside in his game that I would like to see. At least, you know, I mean, you're out of the playoffs. What's
in
gonna
this
hurt
scenario? The other name I don't know if Asprot's on an NHL deal. He kind of intrigues me. I don't know what he is. I haven't watched enough Wranglers to really be familiar with his game. But he's been sticking around with and just kind of stick in my mind. Tokay number 1 saying tank for McKenna. Hey, with the way we're going, we're actually going to have our draft picks next year, so I don't know.
Hey, we will, but
hey Dustin, we're going to address this NCAA signing 40 games a year just so we can get Gavin McKenna. How do you feel about that?
I was going to say we're going to have to be picking very, very high next year, as in like never picked from here before if we want a guy like that. Takai also asking, what will Conrad do if we don't make the playoffs?
Oh boy. I think that will... If the Flames miss the playoffs, I think game 82 will be the last time we see Rasmus Andersson as Calgary Flame.
I hope you're right. I do hope you're right. I think it's such like in typical Flames fashion, they put themselves in positions where it's like you don't know which way it's going, right? Like you can kind of like stick to this retool, you know, draft guys when you can, and let's like kind of retool around the Morgan Frost, the Farabee type age bracket, and kind of retool from there. I want to say whether the Flames make the playoffs or not. Like they're already past the point this season where they can really do any damage at the draft at this point with where they're going to end up picking it, right? Yep. So like at this point in time, I don't think Conroy's strategy is going to shift much more than he currently sits at right now,
no.
Right? And I think right now I have no idea where it's going.
So let's put ourselves in Conroy's shoes. Let's say you get an offer from a team out east that barely misses the playoffs. Let's call it New York Islanders. I don't think this is the team that would make this call and offer their pick. But let's say they say, hey, we want Rasmus Anderson, and we're going to package in next year's first with as part of the deal. Let's say there's a middling prospect, their first for Anderson, and let's call it a fifth, just to make numbers work. If you're Craig Conroy, are you taking the gamble that just to get extra balls in that lottery pick for next year, thinking that the Islanders may decline further than they are this year?
I mean, that's a trade that I would not be opposed against. I mean, it like also gives me like Travis Hamonic vibes but the other way around. And I mean, they picked a guy like Dobson at 16,
Yeah.
so like, I mean, I'm okay with that. I would. I mean, I don't know if I would have to think on it, but yeah, like that is something I would be interested at as well. At the same time, like, first round picks are a hot commodity, regardless of where it is. You have that label first round, and there's so much value to it. Like, I mean, here's a concept this year. Like, imagine the Flames pick, 16th in typical Flames fashion.
Yeah.
And
Florida's pick turns out to be 31st,
or something like that. Yeah. Or even like, let's say we get New Jerseys. Or
yeah,
I guess,
so
sorry, we would
keep jerseys and keep Florida's.
So let's say we're picking like 16, 17, and like, let's be optimistic and say we're picking 28 or something.
Yeah.
What's for a team that maybe is a little bit better off in a rebuild, like what's stopping the Flames from being like, hey, take 16 and 28 and we'll trade up for like 11 or something. Like,
or trade them for Magic Beans next year. Move your picks into next year's picks.
Right?
Like that's where I want to be with this Flame squad. This draft, all respect to the prospects that are in this draft, as I see that I forgot to switch over to the overtime on the graphic. Oh well. But all respect to everyone that's in this draft. I don't want you.
I think there's.
I don't think there's generational team changing prospects even in the top 5.
Interesting. I mean, I will. Top 5. I would say top 3. I think there's generational talent. Top 3, maybe top 4. I would go. I don't know.
There's nobody at the level of Gavin McKenna in this draft.
No, I will agree with you on that. But again,
I'm willing to throw as many lottery balls into the Gavin McKenna lottery as possible at this point.
I just like, I don't disagree, but okay, so like the Flames, unless something drastically happens and Conroy goes, let's shale everybody off in this offseason, the Flames, I hate to say it, but I don't think their trajectory is going to be a lottery pick next year. We have Vegas is unprotected, so I mean, unless something extreme happens, I don't think we're picking too high there. And like, again, like a hypothetical of like a fringe playoff team this year that we can turn into next year, like I feels like they'll be at best 3 picks for the Flames, anywhere between 12 and 19 or something.
But if you're getting those 3, who's saying you can't package the 3 like Boston did or was on the receiving end and move up? Because like,
I don't think 3 picks in the middle of the draft will get you number 1, and that's where McKenna's going next year.
I can dream, Matt. Because like,
I hope you're like, I get that. I do. I'm just a very big pessimist. Yeah. And that's me. That's nothing against you.
So as the Denim Man asked, who even is the likely first overall? It is the coin flip right now between Matthew Schaefer and Michael Misa.
Oh, there's maybe a 4-way coin flip. I guess a dice.
I think Hagens and Frondell are lower than both. That's my opinion.
I think there's 3 that can go either way. I think Schaefer is, if you ask me.
Matt, you have more eyes on this than I do. I will defer to you.
I will say Schaefer is probably, I wouldn't say the favorite at this point, but I do think he is slightly the consensus number 1 at this point. I think his injury at the World Juniors did hurt, but what we saw prior to and what we're seeing, after, I think there is a strong argument to make that he's number 1. But again, I mean, a guy like Michael Misa is having just one of the most legendary seasons, draft year seasons, with Saginaw. And of course, he was the latest exceptional status player out of the O. I think there are arguments and very valid, reasons why he could be one. And I really think that Hagens is being slept on as well. I think the Martone conversation is probably out. I don't think he's really in. I think he could maybe get a third, depending on what players, um, uh, what the teams want and what order they're picking and stuff. I think Martone can maybe get in the top three, but I don't. I think the battle for one is up to three different players, but I think Schaefer has the edge over the other two at this point.
Matt knows better than I do. So Matt, let's keep it on the draft here because I've actually got a question for you.
Absolutely.
Somebody you probably have seen a fair bit that's kind of in that 14 to 17 range playing for the Calgary Hitmen is Brett Kendall. Do you think he is somebody that the Flames could have eyes on with that middle of the round pick?
I think so. I really like him. He finished the season 99 points on a really good Flames team. He was one of the
Hitman
10,
team.
sorry, Hitman team. You're right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I really like his play. I think he's a really strong, dynamic offensive threat. Um, I will say I like him. I think he will be a first round pick. I think that 14 to 16 is maybe a little bit high for him, if I'm being completely honest with you. I would say, and again, this is me from like I
But you see the
know
logo that's on his sweater, folks. Or actually, no, you can't. It's a little low for you guys, but
I have a little bit of background with these guys, and I really like his play, and I'm not dogging him whatsoever. I think he absolutely has what it takes to be a first round pick, and I think his offensive capabilities are super strong and stuff I really like, and I think he's got a great personality too. And I mean, personality is one thing as well, but um, I don't think you go wrong with a pick like that. But I mean, if you want to talk guys in our league that I like to, or guys in the Western Hockey League that I'm really, really a fan of that I don't think people are getting as much eyes on are, for example, a guy like Cameron Schmidt in Vancouver and a guy like Cole Reshny out of Victoria. And I think the reason why people aren't necessarily talking about these guys is because they are smaller in stature. And I think like size is a big thing in league and in drafts and stuff. But those two guys specifically, or even a Carter Bear and Everett, smaller guys, but the skill and what they can do with the puck is just something that trumps size. So, I mean, from a junior hockey perspective and from my perspective with the league, those are guys that I really like for the Flames, and I think it's something you got to look past the size. But I think they're what they do this year. Like Cameron Schmidt hit 40 goals in his draft year. Like he was, one of the top scorers in the WHL, and he's not even drafted. He has 2 more years of eligibility after this, right?
yeah.
So I like those guys. But again, a Ben Kendall, and I mean, even with him being in a Calgary kid, or not a Calgary kid, he's from Vancouver,
Yeah.
but with him
Playing in
being with the
Calgary.
Hitmen, the Flames are 100% getting eyes on this kid as well. So it's not a bad pick. But I just think with the guys available, I mean, maybe that's somewhere we take him with our second first round pick. So
But I'm not going to be unhappy if we select Reshny. I really liked Austin. I got to watch him a lot in the AJ. Unfortunately, playing for a team I didn't get to watch and cheer for a lot back when I was in that league. That's Okotoks Oilers. But yeah, I like that family. Good connections. And one last question out of the hockey realm. Are you signing up for World Cup tickets to fly over to Vancouver or Toronto to go watch soccer, Matt?
I will not be, and
You don't
that
what? You're
is
not
no.
taking a mortgage out on your house to go watch Belarus versus Belarus probably won't qualify. Let's go Cote d'Ivoire versus Germany in
You know what?
Vancouver.
I think it would be a really fun experience. I'm not taking anything away there. I just think, I mean, as everybody knows, I'm more of a hockey guy, and if I had maybe a little bit of a better, pulse on the soccer community, there might be more conversation. But for me, um, I will not, and I will be happily watching on TV, having no idea what's going on in a game. Conrad, I think I know the answer for the both of us.
I will go jump the fence over at Spruce Meadows and watch whoever decides to train there, as they have offered it out to numerous nations to rent to come be their training home grounds. I will go jump the fence at Spruce Meadows and watch them train, and I will show up to Kildare's or the Ship and Anchor, and I will cheer with my red and white painted face. And hey, maybe if Somalia qualifies, I'll go with my Cavs jersey and cheer on Ali Musi. But I will be watching from home because I don't have World Cup ticket money.
Fair
But
enough. I mean, I will go to a Cavs game any day of the week. I went once last year and it was awesome. First time I've ever been, and it was a great experience. So I would go there again.
yeah, anyone
But
that's
yeah,
local, come join me in Section 200. Come join the Foot Soldiers.
there you go.
We don't bite
So
unless asked. Anyways, I think that's it. That's all for us today. The Flames do end up falling 5-2 your final score, and you know what? Flames only trail by 6 with games in hand. The sky may be starting to fall, but it's not falling yet, folks. We'll see you next time on Game Over Calgary. Reminder, our next episode, not on this channel. It's a crossover, so it will be on the Edmonton channel. But you might see some familiar faces live and in person. We'll see you on Saturday. Where's my extra? There it is.